What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am here with a very unique kind of video today. Today, I am going to be discussing the top 30 coaches in draft format for Generation 6, but I don't expect you to trust my opinion alone, so I did bring in a special guest today. His name is Schady. If you are not familiar with him, I'm kind of surprised, but go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Yo, what's up, guys? Schady here. I am coach of Bayern Munich in the PPL, occasionally GPC and other things, and I don't win leagues, but I do pretty well sometimes.
Sounds kind of like me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to have you join me today for this. We felt that it would be a little bit more credible to have multiple sources for these rankings, and we hope you do enjoy what we decide to show you here. But let's talk a little bit about the basis for these rankings. So, in deciding our rankings, we held 5 factors in mind. The first being the coach's skill in their preparation, so how they build their teams for their battles, what kind of scouting they might do before the battle of their opponent's playstyle, and etc. We also looked into their skill in battling, as well as their skill in drafting. So some coaches may be excellent battlers, but maybe not so much in terms of being able to draft a good team. That was taken into account in these rankings. We also looked at the coach's accolades, such as their playoff record, championships they may have won, their clutch factor, and that how do they do in really close games, that kind of thing. And then finally, we took into account a coach's strength of schedule, how tough the league is that they play in, and how well they've done in those tougher leagues. So that's generally what we used as the basis for deciding these rankings. But just so you have a little bit of insight as to how we actually went through this process, we each made our own rankings, 1 through 30 with some honorable mentions, and then we averaged those rankings together into one final list. So some people that perhaps I might know better as a player than Schady does might be ranked a little lower, and vice versa, just because one of us isn't as familiar with that coach. So if you feel you should be ranked higher than you actually are, then I apologize for that.
Fault.
It's all my fault, yes, of course. But before we go any further, I do want to give credit to a couple YouTubers who actually did a similar video before this, and I don't want to steal credit for the ideas. So I want to give a shout out to Sheerforce, who is the commissioner of the National Pokemon League. He did a similar video like this involving only GBA and UCL coaches. And then also a couple smaller YouTubers, Troy Gaming and Will the RNG Lord, who very recently did a top 10 type video like this. So I will link both of those videos in the description below. Definitely go give them a look if you want to see the original ideas on this. But we just wanted to take a spin on this idea and expand it a little bit, since we feel that we have a pretty... we're pretty well connected in the draft community. We know a lot of people. I know a lot of people from the tournaments, and Shady's just been around forever, it seems. So we definitely have been in contact with a lot of the top coaches around the community, and we felt that we were pretty well qualified for making rankings such as this. So to go ahead and start things off with our rankings, we have some honorable mentions. And Schady, do you want to take that away first?
Sure. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is Shroomraver of the Parasite Domain, coach in the PPL. He won Season 2, hasn't had that great of seasons after that, but still an incredibly creative player. So he deserves an honorable mention there for sure. Do you just go through all of them, or do we want to...
Yeah, go ahead and get all of them.
I'm going to go off them. Okay, we have Robin Vard, or I think Poco Rob now, coach of the Austin Taurus. He won the GPC last season, so he's a very good player as well. Dallas Boy 1992. Coach of San Antonio Swampers in the NPL, very good competitor there, has made playoffs, I think, a couple times. Then we have Under the Radar, coach of the Maryland Terrapins, also in the PPL. He is currently, I think, #1 in the league, and has always been very strong in draft formats, except for like one season, but we don't talk about that. Very consistent, has been playing in the league, in the format for ages. Then we have Danicki, coach of St. Louis Stabilize, from the MPL. He, I think he won, or he made playoffs? I think he's
won like at least twice in that league, maybe more.
So yeah, I think 2 titles are enough to tell you how good of a player he is. Yeah. Also competitor in March, I think someone shouted on, so And then last but not least, we have El Cesar, coach of the Borussia Dortmund in the GBA and the GPC Season 1 champion, and always been in the playoff race in the GBA ever since. So a very strong competitor for sure. And yeah.
Yeah, all these players that we just mentioned are definitely solid, and they were on both Schady and my rankings list, but due to the averages and how that worked out, they actually were just outside of the top 30. So I guess now we'll go ahead and jump right on into the top 30, and Schady gets to do all the talking here because he's starting off with number 30.
Yeah, sure, let the foreigner do the talking. That's a great idea. At number 30, we have GBA Season 2 champion Super Blah, coach of the Boston Red Sox. I think him having won the GBA tells you a fair amount about him, even though his team was absolutely broken that season. Very good player. Been in the playoff race in the last season as well. And just very experienced player in the format for sure. And he deserves a ranking, or a spot on the rankings.
Okay, and then our next two, I'll go ahead and group them together because they are tied at number 28 due to the averages. The first one is top tier boy coach of the Florida Alligators. He is a current coach in the NPL, although he is a pretty new coach in the format as well, and that's why he's not ranked quite as highly, despite the fact that he is a good enough player to compete with anybody. I just didn't feel he had quite as much experience with drafting and preparation to be ranked any higher, but he can beat anybody, and that's why he deserves a position in the top 30. And then for the other coach ranked at number 28, we have Rizzy Powell, coach of the Phoenix Sunfloras. This man is very, very good in the format as well, with championships in multiple leagues. I believe he has a championship in the Major Pokemon League, as well as recently in Battle Union. And he's also a coach in the GPC, so he's had success in all of his leagues, maybe a little less so in the National Pokeball League recently, but but he's definitely a solid player worthy of being in the top 30.
Yep, and below, no, not below. Nice. Number 27, we have Crowbat for the win. Dan's a coach of the Los Angeles Nido Kings, GBA Season 1 champion, NPL Season 2 whatever champion. 2, thank you. And two championships again, very strong, very rare to have that. And I think he's always done really well in both leagues. Even though GBA has been a while, but he's a very strong competitor in the NPL. I rate him fairly highly as a player, and Jolt does as well. And it's been a while since he won a championship, but he's still a very good player.
And remember, this is for the entirety of Generation 6, so if you look back to the beginning of Generation 6, Crowbat for the win is who you looked at as one of the top players, so that's a very large reason why he's in the top 30 here. But then for the next up, we have a coach who is tied at number 25 with another coach, and that is Aberforth, coach of the Brisbane Breloons. Now, this is another coach from the National Pokeball League, and also is relatively new to the format. This was his second season, but in both seasons that he's competed in, he has made playoffs, and that's not easy to do, quite honestly, especially in leagues that are very competitive. So he's played very well in both of his seasons. His preparation is steadily improving, but similar to what I was talking about with Top Tier Boy, he is relatively young at the format. He still has some room to develop, but he is capable of beating anybody, really even anybody above him in the rankings, and that's why he deserves a place in the top 30.
Yep, and he is tied with Pokemon Trip HD, coach of the Delta Ravens in the TBU at the moment, or in TBU, before Frito kills me. And he has won TBU in the season before this, in Season 2. Season 3, he made the finals and lost to Rizzy Powell. I think he has won the MPL as well. He's a very strong player. The only reason why we have him pretty low in comparison is because his drafting is probably his only big weakness. I don't think he's a great drafter, but he makes up for it with really good prep, really good playing. That's why he still deserves a spot on the list. And yeah, he's still a good player, even though I yelled at him in power rankings. Good old times.
Alright, so then at number 24, we have A-Drive, coach of the New York Metapods, or the St. Louis Rampardos, from the GBA and the UCL. Now, Dan produces results, and that's why he is ranked in the top 30. He's able to make the playoffs and more frequently than not do well in the playoffs. The reason why he's not ranked higher than where he is right now, though, is that his battling ability is a little bit sketchy at times. And if you disagree with me, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to argue this. But he makes some plays that aren't exactly wise. More frequently than he should, more frequently than a player who is really in the top 30 should. That said, those plays sometimes work. That doesn't make them good plays, but they do sometimes work, and that's how he's been able to receive all these accolades and doing really well in the GBA and in the UCL. So props to him for doing so well in his leagues. I'd like to see him improve a little bit as a battler, but he definitely is deserving of being in the top 30, and we have him ranked at number 24.
And at number 23, we have Blinkboy, coach of the Surrey Litleo. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but, you know. Currently in the GPC. He won Summer Showdown, which I think is enough of proof that he's a very good player. He's also currently doing pretty well in GPCs in the playoff race. So that's all I know about him, but I think that definitely tells you enough that he's a very good player. And his tournament one was really impressive.
And I believe he also got second place in the GPC tournament, which is also
true.
a pretty big tournament too. So next up is at number 22, Moxie Infernape, coach of the Baltimore Braviaries. This is a coach who is truly on the rise, in my opinion, as he has consistently been improving throughout his seasons in the major Pokemon League, to the point where this past season I felt that he was really nearly at the top of his game, especially in terms of preparation, as he is one of the best in the entirety of the draft community in terms of prep, in my opinion, and he's been able to knock off several top players because of that preparation. So I do believe he deserves to be in the top 30 at number 22 here, and I would not be surprised at all to see him maybe in less than a year move into the top 15.
Yep, definitely. And number 21, we have Anima, someone who hasn't played this format in quite a while, or this game entirely. Coach of the Golden State Dragons in TBU and EXPNU. The reason why Anima is there because she played in both of these at the same time, and she won both of them. And if you have played in more than one league at the same time, you know. I think Jolt can be.
It's really
proves
hard.
That very, yeah,
really, really hard.
It is not easy, and winning both of those and being so consistent, barring that one game where Talonflame did some things, is really impressive. But yeah, Anima, kudos to her. That was really impressive.
Okay,
I really want to see her get back into this.
Yeah, so do I. I'd love to see her play some more as well. So then at number 20, we have Cheeseboy628, coach of the Phoenix Sunkern. I'm getting all the National Pokeball League guys here, which I guess is okay since I know them pretty well. But he's an interesting guy, as he doesn't really spend the most time on his building, yet he has remarkable results despite that. So I think that is a large testament to how great of a player he is, in that he goes into a draft format battle without really that much preparation. I think he scouts his opponents a fair amount, but his team building itself isn't nearly as complex as what many other coaches tend to do for their building, yet he does really well in his leagues. So he's an incredible battler, especially in terms of the clutch factor, as if there is a close game, it is very likely that Cheeseboy will end up winning that game, and that's why he's such a scary person to play against. I really don't like playing against him, because if it's a close game, I'm probably going to lose, so that's not something I like dealing with for sure, but he deserves a spot at number 20 in the rankings.
And number 19, we have Yo Fizz, coach of the Atlanta Luchas in the GBA and now also in the PPL Division 2. Always been a very strong competitor no matter what season. Always either been in the playoff race or actually made playoffs. Very good player, very consistent. His team building is cool. He's very creative. He's also the most stubborn player out there, I think, and that helps him in a lot of situations to keep up stealth works and stuff like that. I remember those situations that he had a couple times, and he's a very good player. I rate him very highly as a person and a player, and he deserves to be number 19 for sure. At number 17, we have a tie, so that's why there's not 18, you know, logic. We have Fufu, coach of the Newcastle United, from the PPL and the GBA. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be like, why is Fufu so high? His GBA season wasn't that great, and I will agree with you, it wasn't great at the start. He had a lot of losses, but those were usually really close. But in the PPL, especially in his first season, he absolutely destroyed everything. I think he was like 6-0, 7-0, and then he lost 2 games and then didn't win the title. Also some bad luck on his end as well. Granted, he got good luck against me, but not the point.
Gotta throw that in there, I understand.
I have to. But yeah, Fufu is a very good player, very creative, and he's been playing Pokemon for ages, so he knows his way around playing the game itself, and his prep is also really good. Even though, I guess he has been playing for like 3-4 seasons now, so that's definitely enough to have experience. I rate him very highly. I was worried about playing him because he's really, really good.
Yeah. Okay, so then the other coach that is tied at number 17 is MV, coach of the San Diego Chim Chargers of the GBA. He, like some of the coaches below him, is also very new to the format. He did have one season in the NPL minors where he did win, so definitely props to him for that. And he made the playoffs in the GBA, and I believe got to the second round, I believe. I might be wrong on that, but I know he lost to George, which is obviously an opponent that you shouldn't be too ashamed of losing to. But his preparation is really, really good, except whenever he has a bad matchup. And if he is able, or if he was able, to learn how to prepare in the scenario of a bad matchup and still do well, then he could easily be in the top 10 or even higher. But because he struggles so much to prepare in situations where his matchup is not great, for example, this past season against the Landorus Incarnate, then he remains at number 17 until he's able to accomplish that. But he's still an excellent player, just in terms of battling ability, probably in the top 5, definitely in the top 10, probably in the top 5 in the entirety of the draft community. But he's got a little ways to go before he's a totally polished coach, but definitely a solid player, not one I would want to see on my schedule.
Okay, number 16, we have someone I rate very highly, but don't tell him I said that. Mr. Murk, coach of the Shadow Valley Murk, or now San Francisco Reggie Giants, or Burger King. He has way too many names. Coach in GPC at the moment, occasional step-in coach for me and other people in PPL. Murk is a very, very good player. He kind of doesn't win in playoffs. I think that's one of the issues he has. If he would have prepped better for the playoffs in the GPC last season or the season before, I don't exactly remember, he probably could have won that, but he didn't have quite the right prep there, so that is a little bit of an issue. Also, another issue he has is that hacks really gets to him. He really gets angry. He's not alone. I feel you, Murk. But that's not an issue he has. Yeah. He's really good at prep, really creative player as well, and just an experienced player as well. He has been playing this for God knows how long, and I rate him very highly, and he deserves to be at number 16.
Okay, so then at number 15, we have Mega Mogwai, coach of the Real Maril from the GBA and the UCL. And see, he was the GBA, is it Season 4 champion or Season 5?
I think Season 4, yeah.
Season 4? Okay, so he's the Season 4 champion, which says a lot. I believe he had a nearly undefeated run that season, if not undefeated. It was very, very solid what he put together that season, and he's really kept up some relatively consistent results. He might have fallen off a little bit recently, probably due to other commitments in his life, but even so, he always will be renowned as one of the top players in Generation 6 draft format just because of his consistency when he was at his peak. But he definitely deserves a position in the top 30 because of his falling off lately. We did slide him down a little bit further than he probably could have been, but it's just all around a solid player and worthy of being at number 15.
Yep, at number 14 we have Chimpact, coach of the Philadelphia Scissors in the GBA. Chimpact is also fairly new to the format, but he is incredibly experienced in Pokemon as a whole, competitive Pokemon. He made GBA playoffs, and I think he lost to Fizz, if not mistaken.
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Which is not something to be ashamed of. Fizz, as I said, very good player as well. He made Mega Dancing an absolute beast, which I think before he used that, a lot of people thought it wasn't that great of a Pokemon in draft format. So he showed it to a lot of people out there, to a bigger audience, and he's a very good player, very good at prep. He swept someone Belly Drum Chestnut, which is always a big achievement. I did that as well. So...
Did you hear something? I think I heard something.
No, I didn't hear anything. I don't know what you said. Yeah, Chimpact is a really good player. Still fairly new to the format, which is why he is a little bit lower. If he gets one, maybe 2 more seasons, then he's probably going to move up. Oh yeah, I have another one. Cool. Okay, then for tight number 12, we have Travesty 1, coach of the North Melbourne Kangaskhan in the PPL now. I think he's probably one of the lesser known people on this list. But I rate Trev very highly. He's part of my bit of a quote-unquote front office. I taught him a lot about team building. He's a very good player. He, in Division 2, which was his first PPL Division 2, which was his first draft season ever, he managed to come third and clinch that playoff spot and come into Division 1 by memeing on ManaTui with an air balloon, double lance Cobalion, and absolutely destroying him. Then he made it to Division 1, lost his first game, but then just went on a winning streak, on a rampage, and destroyed everyone. 9-1 record overall. Beat me in the last week to win a championship. Still hurts. He managed to like, I think I'm going to into this in a little bit more in depth. He had a really bad matchup against me, and he found this one way that he had of beating me, and he pulled it off perfectly. It was like a triple screens actually with Safeguard, Memento Latios into a dual dance Thunderous. He did that, he swept me with it, and that's how he won the championship. And I think his ability to come up with those sets, those sweeping sets that can just help him with bad matchups is something I rate very, very highly, and I think that deserves him a spot in the top 15.
Okay then, so at, I guess, tied for number 12, we have K to the 2 Kyle, coach of the Harlem Gloomtrotters, former coach of the Detroit Gale Wings in the NPL Season 1 and Season 2. And this man is ranked as highly as he is purely, I shouldn't say purely, mostly because of his incredible ability and preparation, as I personally regard him as the best, if not one of the top 5 or better in terms of building before a match. Absolutely. As he prepares for literally everything, and when he's at the top of his game, he's almost impossible to beat. And lately, admittedly, he's been tilting a little bit from what I hear and what I've seen, but when he's at the top of his game, he can beat anybody, and I mean anybody, as you'll see in a bit, spoilers, he actually knocked off one of our top 5 players in the most recent Summer Showdown tournament. So he can beat anybody. He's really a overall good player as well, just in terms of battling skill. That's probably where he can improve the most, but his preparation and drafting ability really shines through over that. Kyle is definitely worthy of being ranked at number 12.
Yeah, Kyle destroyed me with a Thrash Mega Pincer, and I'm still sad about it. Anyway, number 11, we have the King of Berries, Togevoir, coach of the Arizona Cavanas in NPL and CPC. I forgot what his old team name was.
Portland Timbers. Portland Timbers.
Thank you very much. Tog is an incredible player, very, very good at prep. As I said, the King of Berries, he always has at least like 3 berries per team. Minimum. That's just what he does, and it works out for him. He's also really good at drafting, really good at playing. I think he's incredible. I don't want to play him ever because he's probably going to beat me and it's going to be sad. But yeah, I rate Toga very highly. I think Jolt knows a little bit more about him because they're in the same league. I just watch from the outside and be like, Toga, you're good. Good job.
I mean, you cover pretty much everything I was going to say about him. He's the Berry King, that's pretty clear. And he's also just gotten a lot better recently, in my opinion. So he's just becoming more and more of a threat and moving himself up the rankings. For sure. So then at the first of our top 10, at number 10, we have ManaTui, coach of the Tampa Bay Lux Rays. If anyone follows the PPL, and particularly the PPL D2, you would know that this man went on an undefeated streak with, in my opinion, one of the best drafted teams ever in PPL D2. And he played lights out that entire season, and he won every single game. So, I mean, anyone who can achieve an undefeated season in a tough league deserves to be in the top 10, in my opinion. And he did pull that off in PPL D2. He also won one of the first, I believe the second No Pause tournament, which is worth mentioning for sure, as that was not an easy event whatsoever. And just overall, he's a widely respected player in the draft community. And again, not someone I would want to see on my schedule.
I think when you talk about no pause tournaments, I think we should mention Scar Sandslash. Otherwise, Mono's going to be really sad if we don't mention that.
Yes.
Also, Mono destroyed me in week 1 of this PPL season, so, you know, sad. Boys.
So he must be good.
Yeah, he must be good. And then we have a 3-way tie at number 7, or like 9 to 7, I guess, technically. And we're going to start off with PokeMMD Joey, coach of the Bronze Beartics in UCL. I think everyone knows Joey. If there's anyone who doesn't know him, how did you find this video? Joey is an incredible player, always has been an incredible player in standard play. Then when he got into draft format, I got really excited and he pulled it off. He preps incredibly, he plays incredibly, he uses his experience very well. The only reason why he isn't higher is probably because the UCL is more of a casual league for most of the competitors, without disrespect whatsoever. That's just what most people do. They play for fun. Which, fun in Pokemon? How does that work?
Impossible.
But yeah, Joey is someone I would never want to play because he will probably 6-0 me. It could be really sad, but he's an incredible player. I think everyone knows how good he is. I rate him very highly, and so does everyone else in the world.
Okay, so then for the second coach tied at number 7, we have Trev the King, coach of the Atlanta Braviaries from the National Pokeball League as well as the CPC and the GPC. Now, this man is the definition of clutch, as he has technically 3 championships, I would argue 2.02, but he has a way of being able to pull himself out of the most difficult of positions and coming out with victories, especially in the postseason. So that clutch factor and coupling that with the fact that he's quite honestly an amazing builder and player is why he is deserving of being tied at number 7 here in the top 10 for all Generation 6. So Trev, as much as I'm salty about that championship loss, you are a dang good player. You deserve to be where you are. So then...
I'm excited.
For the next coach, tied at number 7. It's actually someone in this call, and his name is Schady. So, coach of the Bayern Munich. Gotta get this right. No, the Bayern Munich of the PPL and also the GPC. Again, a very, very solid player. What really stands out to me about Schady is his prep as well as his vision of the end game whenever he's in a battle, as it always seems like he has a plan as to what he needs to do to win, and his preparation is geared toward making that plan happen. So really, I see him as a player, as a coach, who wins games in the preparation department and then plays essentially perfectly every single game, and that's why he's done so well in really both of our TTM tournaments in March Madness and Summer Showdown, as he is the only coach on this entire sheet of rankings that placed in the top 8 in both Summer Showdown and March Madness. And those are both really hard tournaments, so pulling that off alone is an accomplishment enough to be in the top 10, but he always is consistently good in the leagues that he competes in. So he deserves to be where he is at number 7. Probably could actually be higher, but he's going to stick there for now until he
I didn't want to be higher. You really made me sound good there. It's incredible.
Well, you are really good.
I'm impressed. You're lying. Anyway.
No.
I choked 2 games away. I'm bad. Anyway.
I've choked my games away too.
High five. Number 6, we have Call Me Number 1 or Bob, coach of the Canberra Zygarden in the GPC. Now, Bob is currently not playing. He hasn't played in a while because Pokemon is a silly game. I understand it entirely. But I truly believe that when Bob is on his A game, on his best game, best prep, best playing, he can beat absolutely everyone very easily. He always has very good prep, very creative prep, much more of a creative player than I am, for example. And he has won the GPC twice back-to-back, and he has made playoffs in the other 2 seasons. So I think that already proves enough about him as a player. Of course, it's his league, so he only gets people in there he can beat. Obviously, it's how it works. That's what Jolt does, but he still fails. Yeah, you still fail. It's impressive. Yeah, I rate Bob very highly, but hopefully he doesn't watch this because I never tell him that I rate him highly. He's above me as well, which is my fault, because I was like, don't put me in top 6, Jolt. It's ridiculous. So.
Yeah, Bob's really scary. Definitely.
Well, I played him once and I beat him, so he's bad. That's how it works,
okay,
right?
there it is.
Okay, number 5, we have another person in this call. You can guess who that is, right?
Well,
no? Okay, it's Jolt. From the TheTokenMinorities, in case you weren't aware of that. Coach of the Toronto Raptors in the NPL. Now, I'm not as good with words as Jolt is, but I rate Jolt very highly. I think he would probably destroy me in like 5 turns. He's a very good prepper. He takes even more time than I do with prep, which is impressive because I take like years. And he considers everything. Very consistent player, barring hacks. He would have had a championship, but he got hacked. So welcome to that club.
Right.
Trev, I hate you. That goes for Trev and Trev. Yeah. The very good prep has been, ever since I started watching his channel, has been really, really good, really consistent. Always really impressive prep, really impressive play. Always with that look for the end game as well. And yeah, he's good, but he's still a ginger and he smells. So.
Had to throw that in there. I understand.
I can't be nice. It's not fair.
No, I understand. It's fine. I get you. All right. Let's go ahead and move on then to number 4, which is Ironflash Gaming, coach of the Detroit Butterfrees of the CPC. Now, this might be a coach that's not very well known among all of you who might be watching this video, and that's because he hasn't really played in too many of the larger leagues at this point, as the CPC, while is a growing league, is not terribly well known. I believe he's also currently a coach in the GPC. Kind of an interesting situation going on there with his battling, but he's a very, very good player, and he's one of the few, he might be the only one, I'm not really sure, that can beat the #1 player on this list in a best 2 out of 3. And that'll become clear whenever we get there, if it's not already obvious to people who are watching this. But his battling ability is at the top. No one is better than him as a battler. I'll say that. No one in the community is better than him as a battler. Some might be as good, but no one is better. And his preparation is equally as good. And that's why he's in the top 5 here at number 4. As really all 4 of these top coaches are just phenomenal. And he definitely deserves to be here. It's a shame that he doesn't have more recognition at this point. I feel like that might change here sooner rather than later, but definitely worth checking out if you want to see some very high quality draft content, as he is someone I personally very much enjoy watching battle because I learn from him, and that he's just a very good player.
Not gonna lie, I still haven't watched the video of it, so I'm gonna do it after this recording.
You should.
I will. Number 3. We have another big name, George, MC, coach of the San Francisco Arcaniners, mainly in the GPA in the PBL for a while until he had to drop out because of time things and reasons and stuff. George is incredible. I'm glad I didn't have to play him because he's completely terrifying. Incredibly creative player, incredibly good player, incredibly consistent player, and a really, really good at prep. His prep is impeccable, almost. I think that he always has the right win con. He always comes up with something that will surprise his opponent pretty much every game. He has some surprise element on his team, and that will most of the time catch out the opponent off guard. That automatically gives him an advantage. He also has been playing competitive Pokemon since he was like 5, because he's only 11, I think.
He's pretty young.
So yeah, he's a baby. And so like he has experience in playing itself, and GBA championship, multiple playoff runs in D-League as well as the GBA itself, and I think winning March Madness in that very sad game.
Shout out to Trick Room Gardevoir.
With the Trick Room Mega Gardevoir and my feelings being hurt. Yeah, he beat me in the finals in a really fun match. If you haven't seen that, go watch it on his channel because he's Anima commentating. Incredible match, incredible player. Love the dude to death, and he deserves to be in the top 3. I think before I knew the 2 above him, I very easily saw him as number 1 because he's incredible.
Alright, so then at number 2, we have Maddie Brawlick, coach of the St. Louis Reshiram in the National Pokeball League as well as the CPC. Now, Maddie is probably the hardest worker in the entire community when it comes to preparation for his games, in that Schady said I spend a lot of time on my teams. Maddie probably spends double that time on his teams. And that's why he's such a threat, because he literally prepares for everything. He does probably like 5 to 10 mock battles per matchup, and that's a lot. So he definitely is prepared for everything. He sees a variety of styles of people using the draft that he's about to compete against before he actually plays against the coach, and it turns into great results in that he can even get hacks in a game significantly and still come out with a victory that's 3-0 or better. I believe he had maybe 2 games maximum that had lower scores, like lower victory differentials for him in the NPL this most recent season, and that's just a testament to how fantastic his preparation is. If he's always able to pick up wins with 3-0 or better, then that's just flat out incredible. I can't do that, I know that for sure. So really props to him for being so dedicated in preparation, as well as being just a fantastic battler overall. Just going back to what I said about Ironflash Gaming, in that I don't think there's anyone who is a better battler than Maddie Brawlick in the format. I think that he is at the top when it comes to that. There's just some other coaches that are right there with him, and that's why you see one coach above him. But Maddie, you are fantastic, and you know you're fantastic, so congrats on being number 2 for Generation 6.
Okay, so number 1, the big one. And I think if you know him, you know that he's gonna be Gypsy King, coaches Sydney Torpedoes in the NPL and the CPC. Where do I start?
He's good.
He's very good. Gypsy is incredible. I think his overall record has like 3 losses, maybe.
I can actually pull that up. I had it up earlier. As of August, where is it? I had it up earlier. There we go. As of August, he was 56-4. That's 93%.
Yeah, and then he went undefeated in NPL after that.
Yep.
So
he has lost, I believe, twice since then. Twice.
See, there you go. He went undefeated in my opinion, strongest league out there. I can say that because I'm not in it, so it doesn't seem like advertising. Genius. But yeah, it's true. If you go undefeated, if you go undefeated in a league as strong as that consistency in Pokemon is so hard because of hacks mainly. Like hacks alone just is such a huge factor in consistency. And he still somehow manages to do that. I don't know how. He has won like 15 leagues probably at this point. I don't want to play him ever. It's gonna be sad.
I think it's very likely that he has more championships than the rest of the top 5 combined. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Because you don't have one.
I don't have one.
So.
I have 0.98.
It's more than me.
But yeah, Gypsy is just a fantastic player and builder. He is the clear #1 in my opinion because of his consistency and because he somehow does not seem to lose to hacks as often as everyone else does. Even Maddie Brawlick at #2 has lost more games to hacks than Gypsy has. And I don't want to say this because it feels like it feels like I'm kind of taking away from him a little bit, but he's also very lucky as a battler. And if you're a lucky player as well as being tied for the best battler in the entire community, as well as being one of the best, if not the best, in terms of preparation, then how the heck is anyone supposed to beat him? So that's why he has such a great record, in my opinion, that he has that luck factor as well as being a fantastic preparer, battler, and drafter. So just overall a fantastic player, and I believe the clear-cut #1.
He drafts Stunfisk, so he knows what he's doing.
I mean, yeah. If anyone thinks Stunfisk is bad in the format, just watch Gypsy King's videos. All these guys' links will be in the description below, as much as I hate to have to link 30 people or more. All their links will be in the description below. If you think Stunfisk is bad in draft format, look at Gypsy King, please, because
and then fight me in real life.
Because Stunfisk is actually quite viable in terms of being an electric immunity as well as a nice bird check. So that's just something to keep in mind for your future draft plans. But that does wrap up the top 30. I don't want to call it official, but you know, it's our top 30 that we believe are the best coaches from draft format in Generation 6.
I mean, they're my opinions, so they're basically facts.
It's based on facts, you said?
My opinions are facts.
I see, I understand. Anyways, before we wrap this up, I do want to give a brief shout out to the coaches who did receive votes but didn't quite make the list. Those being Skyrander from TBU as well as Ashton Akai from TBU, Aki VGC and Megalugia from the National Pokemon League, another league that does upload and is worth checking out if you're interested in more draft content. Cooper and gym leader Gio from the GBA, 6-Foot Hacks from the UCL. I believe he also went by Elmas the Show Off for a while or something like that. Yeah. R.I. Pierre, or Rip Pierre, I'm not sure how he wants me to say that, from the GPC, Polymac from the PPL, and Arabom from the Major Pokemon League. All very solid coaches as well, but if you look at all the coaches above them, the competition for these top 30 slots, and even the honorable mentions, was incredibly high. So it's just not possible to put every single good draft player on this list. So we hope you did enjoy this video, and if you want to leave your thoughts on the rankings in the comments below, please feel free. We'd love to hear what you have to say on that. If you want to argue with us on any of these rankings, feel free, and I'll sure be happy to respond. Not sure if Schady will be checking the comments as much as I am, since I get the notifications and he doesn't, but
I'll try.
Okay. But yeah, I believe that about wraps this up. Do you have anything else you want to throw out there?
Leave your rankings in the comments and say why I am #1. No, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and don't get mad because these are just opinions.
Yes, they are just our opinion. That about wraps this up. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you all next time. Peace.